This is State Senator Jim Runestad here with the Runestad Rundown podcast. And we're excited about this rollout. We're going to have a lot of fun. We're going to get you the best, latest information, scoops you're not going to hear anywhere else. And one of the things I've been hearing a lot of concern about was that Muskegon case where around between 7,000 to 8,000 different voter registrations were turned in. A lot of them were fraudulent. Was turned over to the Secretary of State, then over to the Attorney General, to the Michigan State Police, and then finally to the FBI. And it seems that here, almost 3.5 years later, it breaks in the news. We don't hear anything about it all this time, and the FBI is still investigating, still looking into this. It sure seems like there's a lot of their burner phones and a lot of fake information coming out of this operation, guns with silencers and all of this stuff. The media buries. No story there, of course, but we are going to get the latest scoop from Bonnie Kellogg. She is right there in Muskegon. She's been involved from the beginning on this. So we're excited to have Bonnie on the show.
Can I first tell you about myself? So
Absolutely.
I'm the elections chair at the Michigan GOP. I'm a delegate. I'm on the board of canvassers here in Muskegon now. And I've worked as an inspector for many years. And so, but my background is really nursing. I've been a nurse for like 35 years. I retired as a nurse, and then I worked the last few years more intensely after the 2020 election. So what happened was when there was sent over 7.6 million AV ballot applications by the Secretary of State throughout Michigan. And when this occurred, we were suspicious of what was going on. And we had problems with our drop boxes. They started increasing them, and we were getting more and more aware of the changes in laws. So on our committee, we formed a subcommittee, and our subcommittee, this was right after 2020 election. We didn't have an official name because we weren't associated with anyone. We just made a committee. And then after about a year, they officially dubbed us with the GOP. But what we did is we started our own investigation. And so our data committee made up we had a 24-page report that we ended up making. And it had, there were 7,000 ballots that we were suspicious about. Because what happened was, and I could tell you exactly what happened in 2020. The volume of voters in 2020 were greater than our voting age population. So we had 109% voters.
Wow.
So the census of Muskegon was 175,824. And if you subtract the children, 39,521, there was 136,303 adults. And we call this the voting age population. The actual registration listed by the county clerk was 148,377. That's 9% larger than what really existed. Wow. This means that 32,519 of the voter registration in Muskegon qualified voter file in 2020 did not represent the voting public. So we knew at that point there was shenanigans going on.
I'm just curious if, in your discussion with the local clerks or the Secretary of State, how did they justify this additional 9% additional voters beyond what number of possible voters there should be?
So we went to our local county clerk, which was Nancy Waters, and she's since retired last year. She all of a sudden up and retired, like quick. So right now they have an appointed clerk, but at the time, we got 3 different voter files from her. She kept submitting different numbers. And that's another reason we were suspicious. And we kept looking into this. As a group, we were like, wait, we need to process these numbers because nothing was making sense. And so with the shenanigans, that's when we started really looking into things. And then we didn't know anything about this until the police report came out. So the police report came out just a few weeks ago. And in the police report, it started talking about what Ann Meesh, and that was at the city clerk, was Ann Meesh and Kim Young. And they're the ones that found the ballots. Now, the ballots, they said, were this big, this many ballots. And I says, well, exactly how many ballots did you find? Because, I went to talk to the clerk, and the clerk said, oh, we never counted the ballots, but we figured there was around 12,500.
Wow.
And that was like October 8th. And so the election was going to be coming in November. And so by October, 20th, that lady, that was like the day before the election, same lady, and she had 2,500 more ballots that she gave to Ann Meesh. And Ann Meesh looked at the ballots, and they were obviously, handwritten by the same person. There was a lot of discrepancies that she saw at the time. Besides that, she compared some of the signatures with the SOS, and it was fraudulent places, places that were closed down. And so she found all these inaccuracies, and then she did give it to the Muskegon police, who contacted this lady, who was there to contact that lady. And they interviewed her, and she admitted, that she was hired by this Gary Bell from the strategies. It was GBI Strategies. And he is from Washington, and he's like this big wig who does community things for voting. And so he's the one that came and set up this place at this it's an abandoned place that they did for some business, an business.
In Muskegon?
In Muskegon Heights.
Yeah. Muskegon,
and so,
okay.
Yeah, which is part of Muskegon. It's in the county. So they set this up, and they put this lady in there who said she got $1,150 a week to look up these voters that, and so she left a lot of the applications in this room when they, it looked like they documented that a lot of these applications were found again, more of them. And they found guns, and, they found those cell phones, and they found those credit cards that were filled so that she could pay people with these credit cards.
Wait, was that in Muskegon or in Southfield?
Muskegon Heights.
But and that warehouse was in Muskegon Heights.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
And so actually right now it still exists, and it's still open. But I don't know, I've never been over there, but somebody told me that it's still going. It's still open. It was rented by these people, by GBI Strategies, by this Gary Bell guy who was, organizing everything. And they found out later that this occurred in 20 other states, and it occurred around Michigan too. So there's other places in Michigan, and I heard Stockton, and I've heard some other names, other counties. But so I don't know if the investigation is still going, but I do know that it was handed over to the FBI, and the FBI dropped it. And so yesterday we had a meeting for the county elections bureau in Muskegon County, and then I met with Judge Pullman was there. And the county clerk, our new appointed county clerk, was there. And I asked them about this, and I said, please let me know, what is the ongoing investigation? And they said, we aren't dealing with that anymore. It got dropped with the FBI, and you can't ask us because we don't know. It's through the FBI, and we don't have a phone line to the FBI. And so according to them, in this meeting, I couldn't get any more information about what really, because supposedly it's still an ongoing investigation.
Ongoing investigation. on something from October of 2020. It is now
Correct.
September of 23. And they, is this so sophisticated an operation that they can't, I mean, for them to track through and find out how this operation runs, how many states it's in, who the financiers are, who are the leaders. The FBI in 3.5 years can't uh, come to any kind of conclusion at this point in time. And nothing really until that story broke a month ago. I don't think practically a person in Michigan even knew about this. So
Correct.
here's something that could have been integral in terms of changing the results in Michigan and across the nation. And the FBI basically is slow rolling this thing. They'll probably say there's no there there. They'll give it a few more months. Hopefully that everything will die down. So yeah, we investigate. There's no there there. Tell us nothing about what they actually learned. I doubt if you could even FOIA the FBI. So it's just more very, very discouraging news. I mean, we're living in a deep state banana republic in essence. That it's really just more examples of how our entire country is now being governed by lawfare on the left, using the entire resources of the judiciary, the criminal justice system, everything, just like with the Biden Hunter laptop, which was absolutely legitimate. All the media said it was fake and blah blah blah. It turns out it was real. The majority of people said it would have made a difference in their decision on their vote. Buried, and that the media still says it was the most perfect election in the history of mankind. It was one of the worst elections in the history of mankind in terms of how it was conducted. But where do you think we should go from here?
Well, I don't know where we're going to go from here. I was going to try to make a plan to get together with Senator Bumstead here. And that's in our district. And so I have a friend who's in kind of in our committee, and she said that she kind of knows him and that she could get in with him. So we had a meeting actually yesterday, and I talked to her, and she's going to make arrangements. I'm going to present it to him and see where it could go from that. I did talk to Patrick Kolbeck. He was a past senator from Michigan, and he's been involved in an election integrity. He sent me a really nice, I asked him about it, and he sent me a really nice message on Sunday, and told me to try to get together with Senator Bumstead, and that he thought that that was still a good idea to keep the investigation going, but he didn't sound very confident that anything was going to be done. That's my gist of his communication with me on Sunday. And so that is what my plan is right now, is to get together with Mr. Bumstead and maybe a couple other people. I'm very involved with Michigan Fair Elections. Patrice Johnson is the chair of that department, of the whole deal. And I'm going to try to see if somebody from Michigan Fair Elections would maybe even meet with me with Senator Bumstead, that we could kind of not convince him, but give him the lowdown and the whole picture to show him how important this is and what we really did find and what, all the steps of this whole investigation. That is
Well,
my plan.
good. Senator Bumstead sits two desks ahead of me,
Uh-huh.
so I see him every day of session, and I will definitely talk to him about this and see if
Sure.
I can also add my voice urging. If I was up there, I would obviously be willing to do whatever I could, and here in Oakland County, I'll still be willing to do whatever I can do. But I will urge Senator Bumstead to also get involved, because it certainly doesn't sound like there's any real legitimacy in the way that this thing has been conducted. This period of time, the story was buried all along the way, and now the FBI, this far along, still can't produce the results. My guess is they're going to say, what we looked at for 3.5, 4, 5 years, and at the end of the day, we saw nothing to see here. That's my suspicion. So anything we can do to keep the pressure up and hopefully get to the truth would be a great win.
Because in this county it's blue anyway. But it turned out that this election in 2020, Trump lost by 550 votes. And so it was that close, and so we figure with all the ballots that were stuffed and then unstuffed, because we know that there was at least 7,000 votes that were missing, and they were sent in March 2020. They were deleted in October of 2021. These votes, and we know that for a fact because we have all the numbers from our committee meeting. So the fact that Trump lost for 550 votes, it's such a small margin between the 7,000 or the 10,000 that maybe even got dumped. It's a very small margin, so that's suspicious too. That's how we feel.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully we can really make an impact. We're getting the word out here across the state of Michigan. We're on just about every format out there. We're actually rolling out this week. So we're going to be really spreading the news far and wide. And if anything comes up, please contact us. Or if we hear something, we'll contact you in terms of an update. But we all got to keep fighting the good fight.
We do. Okay.
Thank you, Bonnie. Well, that was great information from Bonnie. I'm so excited that we're getting information so that this story, this important story, doesn't die. The media, the left, they want it to die. I think the FBI wants it to die. 3.5 years later, they still haven't done anything. We're going to stay on top of this story. We're going to stay on it with Bonnie. So like, share, and subscribe with the Runestad Rundown.